Let's talk about a game that had you parkouring across rooftops like a futuristic ninja, but still tripped over sales numbers. Mirror's Edge was a breath of fresh air in 2008, with its sleek, minimalist design and first-person parkour mechanics that made you feel like a free-running superstar. The game follows Faith, a runner navigating a dystopian city where freedom is, well, not a thing. The visuals were stunning, a stark contrast of white buildings with splashes of vibrant colors. The gameplay, equal parts exhilarating and why did I think I could make that jump? But let's be real, mastering the controls was like trying to learn a new dance move. Awkward at first, but so satisfying when you nailed it. So why did it flop? Probably because it was a bit ahead of its time. Players didn't know they needed this parkour gem in their lives until it was too late. But those who gave it a shot will tell you it's a cult classic. If you haven't played it yet, dust off your sneakers and give it a go. Just don't blame Faith for your bad timing. Imagine a world where energy drinks turn people into mutant monsters. That's the wild ride Sunset Overdrive throws you into. Released in 2014, this Insomniac Games masterpiece was like Tony Hawk met Mad Max and decided to throw a neon rave. You play as a sarcastic, over-the-top hero who has to survive this colorful apocalypse, all while grinding on rails, bouncing off cars, and blasting mutants with weapons that are as ridiculous as they are awesome, like exploding teddy bears. The gameplay is all about speed, style, and mayhem. You're rewarded for staying on the move, and let's be honest, parkouring your way through chaos while firing off ridiculous one-liners? That's chef's kiss gaming. So why did it flop? Timing. It was an Xbox One exclusive when the console was still finding its footing. Combine that with marketing that didn't quite show off its charm, and it faded faster than an over-carbonated soda. But here's the truth. Sunset Overdrive is pure fun wrapped in ridiculousness. If you've ever wanted to feel like the hero of a punk rock comic book, this one's calling your name. Just maybe skip the energy drinks this time. When Guardians of the Galaxy launched in 2021, it felt like the universe didn't quite appreciate this gem of a game. People expected another generic cash grab after the mixed reception of Marvel's Avengers, but boy were they wrong. This game turned out to be a surprisingly heartfelt, hilarious, and downright awesome space adventure. You step into the boots of Star-Lord, leading your chaotic crew of misfits, Rocket, Groot, Gamora, and Drax, on a mission to save the galaxy again. The storytelling? Top tier. The banter between the Guardians? Comedy gold. And the licensed 80s soundtrack? Let's just say blasting space monsters to Take on Me hits differently. Gameplay leans heavily on teamwork. You control Star-Lord but can command the other Guardians mid-battle, pulling off combos that are as flashy as they are satisfying. The visuals are stunning, and every planet is packed with color, detail, and personality. So why did it flop? Low expectations and a crowded release window. People didn't know how much they'd fall in love with this ragtag crew until later. If you missed it, grab your Walkman and join the ride. It's not just a game, it's a galactic mixtape of fun.
You gotta fight fire with fire! Let her look!
Next game is Mad Max, the game that let you live out your apocalyptic desert warlord fantasies but somehow still flew under the radar. Released in 2015, this gem had you playing as the grizzled Max, cruising through a desolate wasteland in your souped-up car, the magnum opus. The world was brutal, dusty, and absolutely gorgeous, with sandstorms that made you feel like nature itself was trying to smack you down. The combat? A mix of brutal fistfights and vehicular mayhem. Imagine Batman's Arkham-style punches, but with extra grit, and then throw in car battles where flamethrowers and harpoons were your best friends. Upgrading your car was oddly satisfying, turning a rust bucket into a death-dealing masterpiece of engineering. So why did it flop? Well, it launched the same week as Metal Gear Solid V, The Phantom Pain. Tough competition, right? Plus, some critics thought it got a little repetitive, but let's be honest. Who doesn't love endless explosions and chaos in a wasteland? Mad Max deserves a spot on your playlist. Here's a game that proved being ahead of its time isn't always a good thing, financially at least. Beyond Good and Evil dropped in 2003 and gave us Jade, a photojournalist turned action hero, uncovering a government conspiracy in a beautifully designed sci-fi world. Think Zelda-style exploration mixed with stealth, combat, and photography? Yes, snapping pictures of alien wildlife was surprisingly addictive. The game was a narrative gem, tackling heavy themes like propaganda and resistance, but still packed with charm and quirky characters. Who could forget Pej, Jade's piggy uncle/mechanic, or the catchy propaganda radio tune? The world was alive, colorful, and brimming with personality. A true creative masterpiece. So why did it flop? Poor marketing and a release window swamped by heavy hitters like Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. Ubisoft had a hidden gem on their hands, but it got buried under the competition. Years later, Beyond Good and Evil is hailed as a cult classic, and fans are still holding their breath for the long-teased sequel. If you haven't played it, grab a camera and dive in. It's worth it. If James Bond, Jason Bourne, and your favorite RPG had a slightly clunky love child, it'd be Alpha Protocol. Released in 2010, this spy thriller RPG from Obsidian Entertainment gave you the chance to be Michael Thornton, a secret agent navigating a web of intrigue, betrayal, and explosions. The beauty of this game was in its choices. Every dialogue, mission, and action had consequences, shaping Thornton's relationships and the outcome of the story. You could go full Bond with charm and gadgets, Bourne with brute efficiency, or even a chaotic wildcard who punches first and asks questions. Never. The customization was deep, and the branching narrative, chef's kiss. So why did it flop? Oh, the bugs. Alpha Protocol had a few rough edges, okay, more like jagged cliffs. Awkward combat and inconsistent AI frustrated players, and the game never got the polish it deserved. Critics were harsh, and it sank faster than a top-secret dossier in a shredder. But beneath the technical hiccups lies a hidden gem. The storytelling and choice mechanics are what RPG dreams are made of. If you can forgive its flaws, Alpha Protocol is a spy game worth checking out. Psychonauts is one of those games that might look like a quirky, cartoony adventure on the surface, but it's actually a deep, heartfelt journey into the mind. Released in 2005, it's a wild ride through the brain of Rasputin, a young psychic with big dreams of joining the elite group of spies known as the Psychonauts. The game is a platformer, but it's unlike any other, taking players through bizarre, psychedelic worlds inside the minds of various characters. The thing that sets Psychonauts apart is its creativity. Each mind you explore is a unique environment, from a war-torn brain to a mental circus. The story is funny, the characters are endearing, and the puzzles will have you scratching your head in the best way possible. It's charming, weird, and incredibly fun, all while diving into themes of mental health and self-discovery. So why didn't it get the recognition it deserved at first? The game didn't have the marketing push it needed, and it came out in a time when there were a lot of other platformers vying for attention. But over the years, Psychonauts has gained a loyal fan base, and is now considered a cult classic. If you're a fan of quirky platformers with depth, Psychonauts is a must-play. It's one of those games that sticks with long enough.
Less waiting, more motivating!
Prey is one of those games that flew under the radar for a lot of people, but is an absolute masterpiece in the survival horror and sci-fi genres. Released in 2017, this reimagining of the Prey series takes place aboard the Talos War space station, where you play as Morgan Yu, either a male or female character, depending on your choice, who's stuck in a world where things have gone horribly wrong. Alien creatures called Typhon are running wild, and you're tasked with figuring out what happened, all while trying to survive. But what really makes Prey stand out is its gameplay. It's a perfect mix of exploration, stealth, and combat. You can use a wide variety of tools and powers, including the ability to mimic objects, which opens up creative ways to solve problems and avoid enemies. The story is engaging, with themes of identity and corporate conspiracy that keep you hooked. So why did it flop? Despite being critically acclaimed for its gameplay and narrative, Prey didn't get the attention it deserved, probably due to a lack of marketing and the fact it was released in a busy year for games. But if you're into immersive sims and want a game that lets you think your way out of problems instead of just shooting everything, Prey is a hidden gem. Here's one of the most underrated shooters of all time, Spec Ops. came out in 2012, and on the surface, it seemed like just another military shooter. You know, guns, explosions, and a whole lot of get to the chopper. But then it threw you a curveball, a psychological one. Set in a sandstorm-ravaged Dubai, you play Captain Martin Walker, who's sent in to find a missing battalion. What starts as a typical rescue mission turns into a gut-wrenching story that messes with your head. The further you go, the more you question your actions, your morality, and what it really means to be a soldier. The narrative is deep, dark, and surprisingly brutal. It's one of those rare games that doesn't just focus on action, but also challenges your sense of right and wrong. Spec Ops. It's a journey you won't forget. It's basically the video game version of Heart of Darkness, but with a whole lot more explosions. So why did it flop? Well, the game wasn't the classic shooter people expected, and it wasn't marketed as the mind-bender it truly was. It deserved more attention, but it got lost in the shuffle of other shooters. If you like your shooters with a side of existential crisis, give this one a playthrough.
It's clear! Come on!
Last game is Alien Isolation. Released in 2014, this survival horror gem took the Alien franchise back to its roots, ditching the action-heavy chaos of aliens and bringing the tension, isolation, and fear of the first movie front and center. You play as Amanda Ripley, Ellen's daughter, stuck aboard the Sevastopol station with a deadly xenomorph hunting you at every turn. The AI for the Xeno is nothing short of genius. It hunts you, it learns, and it never gives up. You don't have a gun to fight it off, so your best bet? Hiding, running, and praying it doesn't hear you scream. The atmosphere? On point. Dark corridors, flickering lights, and the sound of the creatures breathing getting closer make every moment a heart-pounding experience. The game was a love letter to Alien fans, capturing that sense of helplessness and claustrophobia. So why did it flop? It didn't get the attention it deserved, and some players found it too slow, but honestly, the slow burn tension is what made it so terrifying. If you're looking for a true survival horror experience, this one's worth the late-night playthrough. Just maybe keep a spare pair of pants handy. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content on the latest and greatest games. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update. Got a game you'd love to see in a future video? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Stay tuned and see you next time.